All right, Wizard World, how you doing today? Oh, I guess you didn't hear me. I said, oh, hey, Wizard World, how you doing today? That's more like it. My name is Mike Watson, and I'm on the mic. I'm at the creative stage, and I'm talking very loudly because I'm talking to the entire show. I want you to come over here and see what I do. I'm a freelance artist for Marvel and Upper Deck for their sketch card division, and I'm gonna show you how I do some sketch cards. But if you want to look from where you're sitting, accept that too. But it's cooler to sit here because I'm gonna give you something free for coming over this way. Yeah, that's right. I see y'all looking. I see you two over there looking. You want some of this? Free item. That's right. Yeah. Peer pressure's a mother, ain't it? No, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? All right, so my name is Mike Watson. I make pretty pictures that tell a story. I am the publisher of Short Fuse Media Group. We have over 30 comics that we publish. I am also the owner of Freestyle Comics. We have 6 comic books that we publish underneath the Short Fuse Media Group banner. I do sketch cards for Upper Deck and Marvel Comics. I have done a total of 7 sets. That includes Ant-Man and the Wasp 2, Black Panther, Marvel Premiere, and Marvel Masterpiece. And I do commissions and teach art and all types of fun stuff that deal with me drawing pretty pictures that tell a story. Today, I'm going to show you guys how I do sketch cards. Now, I don't normally draw on the on the iPad for it, but visually, it's better to see it on this than me drawing on a piece of paper. It always doesn't come through. I've tested it. I've done it before. But I like doing it on here because the colors are brighter, and I got more fun doing it on this. And this costs a pretty penny, so I'm going to use it for everything I possibly can use it for. Apple is expensive. So, first off, making a sketch card. Sketch cards are part of the Upper Deck division because they have the license for Marvel Comics. So they get to print and make regular trading cards that you would get like baseball cards, but they have comic book characters on them. A sketch card is a one-of-a-kind original. All right, there we are. I'm also on Facebook Live. It's called branding. Let everybody know. All right, so a sketch card is a one-of-a-kind original that we do. Every time I get a set, I get anywhere from 50 to 60 cards that I have to draw and mail back to Upper Deck and Marvel Comics. So the sketch card, you would get a pack of trading cards for Marvel or whatever. It'd have 12 random cards in there. But then you get one card that is exclusive and original artwork from an artist like me. I had no idea how this worked. I really didn't care because I got to say I do work for Upper Deck and Marvel Comics. That's all that mattered to me. Then my brother Danny decided, well, let's find out how this works. Let's see a little bit more of it. So it's actually a website with a bunch of people that logged into it, kind of like a Facebook version of, but for trading cards. So these people would buy their packs of cards, and it would open up digitally. You'd see what cards you'd have in it, and then a sketch card would pop up. You'd have your own portfolio of all the sketch cards that you collect, and then you would trade them with other people. So I did like 3 sets, right? And all of a sudden, I got this message from a guy on my art page saying, hey, are you Mike Watson? Yeah, it says Art of Mike Watson, buddy. That's me. And he's like, wait, but are you the one that drew this card? And he had my Luke Cage. I was like, hell yeah, that's me. I drew that. You got that card? And he's like, yeah. So, but I also want to know, because I got this card too. He had my Daredevil. And I made Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist in a 4-piece set that all went together. He was like, did you draw the rest of the Defenders? And is this part of a full set? I said, yes! Dude, I am so excited right now. He's like, okay, that's all I need to know. I really dig your art, and I had to trade this guy 2 cards for this one, and I got this one in a buy. But I think I found your Iron Fist and your Jessica Jones. So basically, long story short, between trading original sketch cards, this dude spent the value of almost $3,000 to get my sketch card set. I said, I love you. You have inflated my ego so much right now. And dang, you just paid so much money for these cards. I'm going to cry now. But it was like, but on like real talk, it felt really good to have somebody that actually not only dug my artwork in the sketch card division, but hunted down my other cards so they have a complete set. Like, that was crazy. So now every time I do a set at 4 of them, I always make sure to have one set that's put together, just so I won't relive that magic. That won't happen again. But trying to imitate it. So when I come up with sketch cards, I have to think kind of, there's 2 ways to do it. You can do a real basic, simple window shot, which is normally like a head or shoulder shot, but you can complicate all of them. What you want to do is try to make the card as cool as possible, and sometimes simple is better, sometimes it's not. Sketch cards are extremely hard to draw, and it's because they actually send them to me at the size. So they kind of suckered me in. So when I first got my set, I was drawing on 5x7. That's postcard size. I was loving it. It was like just the right amount of room. And I was like, it was like, so you want to do another set? I was like, yeah, send me another set. And then they were this small. And I was like, where's the big cards at? It's like, no, this is what you're doing now. And we need 60 of them by the end of the month. Okay, thank you. So the smaller ones are harder to do because of thinking of the format, how to use them, and how much detail to put into the cards. There have been some cards that are super fantastic detail, like this one dude painted Thanos with the gauntlet, then flipped the card on the back, cut tiny little holes in the gauntlet, put light switches in there, and put a battery pack on it, and it was a lit up infinity gauntlet. I said, dude, you win. I am not doing all that. You win. But with the cards, you kind of have to find your happy spot for how much detail you're going to put on them and the style. The cool thing about them is you can do the cards in virtually any style that you want. When getting these contracts to do these cards, they are very specific in how they want them. Like, I can't draw a real gun in there. If I draw a gun, it has to be like a futuristic space gun. I also can't have the gun aimed at the camera. It can never be looking at the viewer. All the costumes cannot be battle damaged. Everyone's costume has to be perfect. I cannot, like, when I got Black Panther, I was super excited, but I can't draw any of the movie versions. All has to be the comic versions. I can't draw anybody's likeness. There's a list of characters that you cannot draw at all on there, and it's a pretty big list. One time I did a 3-piece set, where I did Galactus. His arm came across 3 cards, and I had the Silver Surfer surfing around the arm and then coming into the foreground. I was super proud of this card. I was like, this is going to be the one. Then I pulled out my contract just to check my cards. Yeah, no Silver Surfer, no Galactus. I spent 7 hours drawing it. So to save it, I turned it into a Sentinel and made the Silver Surfer Iceman. Got to be thinking quick on your feet. I was not about to waste those cards. All right, so today we're going to sketch out a card, pretty much do a layout and stuff. Who should I draw? Y'all pick. Cyclops? My man. What costume? The manga? I don't know the manga one. That's the one I wanted. All right. So, I don't really like Cyclops. But that's cool. I had to come to appreciate Cyclops. And the way that I came to appreciate Cyclops, and what made me realize I really did like Cyclops, is how he was disrespected in the movies. Every single one of the X-Men movies disrespected him in such a horrible and atrocious way. It was terrible. I was like, this is not my Cyclops. Not at all. And I did not just get one. Then he started getting played in the comic books. But 90s, Jim Lee, blue and yellow, strapped up, Boy Scout Cyclops is my Cyclops. All right, so with my Apple Pen, I pretty much have every single tool that I need, which is amazing. There's all these different settings. So I got Sketches and Technical Pen, which is my favorite one to use. The cool thing about this is that's my layer section, so I can do layers on top of layers. And the iPad and the Apple Pen pretty much reverberates exactly my process for drawing. Because if I was drawing this by hand, I'd be using a light box. I'd be using, marker paper, tissue paper, like transfer to like work on my poses and stuff and strengthen up and things like that. But I don't need any of that stuff for this part, for you guys. So I'm cutting my corners here because it's all in this one app. And most of the time, I don't even know what pose I'm doing. I just start scribbling on the page. And it's fine. Because Cyclops is the homie. My favorite scene with Cyclops was probably X-Men #1, where he told Wolverine to get back in the room when Professor X is talking to him, and Wolverine popped his claws like 1 centimeter away from Professor X, and Cyclops was like, "Logan, cut it out!" Logan's like, "Shut up, bub," and like smokes a cigar and walks off. God, I miss the 90s. That's when X-Men were great. But the lighter or harder I press, I get different pressure. So I can press hard, as you can see, and that comes up. I hit this little arrow. As long as I did it in one motion, I can erase it. I remember Uncanny X-Men 300, drawn by John Romita Jr. I can't remember the character's name, but he was a big, like, muscle character. And he had Cyclops' hands his mask completely covered up with his hands. Very next page, Cyclops blows his fingers off completely. It's one of the dopest images I've ever seen in comic books. And like looking at that stuff, I was like, man, I would have never thought as an artist to draw it that way. It would have never occurred to me to draw something like that. So basically what I'm doing right now is creating a sketch skeleton. AKA, that's a fancy name for stick figure. That's how I teach my kids in class. So the cool thing is that my sketch skeleton can be whatever I want it to be. And outside of this, I normally, although I have during this demo, I normally don't ever pick my pencil up. I just keep moving until I start building up a shape that I like. Now the cool thing about the iPad, because I am drawing on this, is I don't like that my arm is cut off here. So what I'm going to do shrink it, because that's awesome. Now one of Cyclops' classic moves is putting those 2 fingers up to that visor and open it up. Okay, I lied. My favorite scene with Cyclops is New X-Men. Grant Morrison was writing it, and Jean Grey had recently died, right? And Cyclops is with Emma Frost, right? In the bed, chilling out, just laying there, slob and drool and everything, right? And Wolverine's sitting on top of the bedpost, and he's like, "So this is what you do when you mourn, Scott?" And I was like, "Dude!" And all of a sudden, very next panel, nothing else is seen. Wolverine is punched through the wall from an optic blast. And I was like at that time, I still didn't like Cyclops, but I was like, respect. Don't come in my bedroom and question what I do. I'm Scott Summers, damn it. I do what I want. Leader of the X-Men. But no, that was my absolute favorite moment. The second one, he was in the midst of a class. It was, what was he doing? He was teaching the students how to block and dodge shots and stuff like this. And then one of his students kept just talking trash to him in class. He was like, "Outside, let's go right now." And so as the dude attacked him, he dodged and zarked him real quick and was like, C-. And he swung on him, missed again. He was like, F. And broke his arm. I was like, Scott Summers, what's up, baby? Some really good moments with Scott, man. I wish that's the Scott that we would have got on screen. Hopefully, with the MCU, that's the Scott that we get. God, I would love it. Him just giving people Fs and hitting them with an optic glass. Which one? Thank you for reminding me. I have to walk around here and find that #1 issue because I need it. I read a lot about it. Awesome. He wants his respect. It's about time Cyclops got his respect. All right, so right now this is a whole bunch of scribbles. You can kind of make that out there. I always tell my kids when I'm teaching the art class, we want to build up the figure. What you want to do is you want to draw from the inside out and not the outside in. Generally, when people start drawing for the first time, they have a habit of drawing the outside line and then trying to add the details inside, and that's not the way that you should do it. There are people that are very good at doing it like that, and people that are good at doing it like that have like photogenic memories. Like they just can capture images incredibly well. But for the rest of us that actually have to work and build it up, you need to do from the inside in. So literally, you need to be making their body parts. You need to make their skeleton. And so these lines here, so obviously that's my shoulder. This is my neck, head, chest and stomach, midsection, legs here, arm, elbow, fist, shoulder, hand, bam. So that's the basic of the skeleton. These scribble lines that I have in here, this is my muscle. This is the building up of the character's muscle and things like this. This is the stuff that when I have my pencil, I don't pick up my pencil. I keep it moving because I'm building up this shape. Now, when I'm drawing it live, like on paper with a pencil, I'm drawing much lighter. With the benefit of iPad, I can just do this. Just soften it up. Now, this is the same process and steps that I would use for a light table. I take a sheet of paper, scribble out my whole design just like this, be as messy as I want to. That's my map. Then I get a clean sheet of paper, put it on top of it, flick that light table on, and then I start tracing out the lines that I want. So what we're going to do is flick that light table on, and now I'm going in here closer. I'm still scribbling a little bit, but now because I've built that undertone, now I can pick and choose and put Scott's body on there the way that I want. Because I've already drawn the foundation. I've already put everything down there. I don't need to go back and adjust anything because I've lightened this lower layer up and I can just go over top of it. Now, when people first get into art, that's kind of what their mistake is. They start with this process first and try to add into it and go backwards. Now, looking at that, another great benefit of this right now is I've drawn that head too big. No problem. Fixed. One of the cool things I learned about anime is they all, when things are lit up or something like that, there's always a tracer image. There's always tracer light. Nobody in comic books was doing that until Joe Mad. Joe Mad used to draw X-Men and he was doing all types of stuff like that. Once he did it, everybody was doing it. It's so simple, it got oversaturated or whatnot, but I still think it's cool and I like to do it. So I put that there from his optic glass so I know that's what I want to put there. Now I'm adding a little bit more pressure to this. Still scribbling, but just giving a little bit more form. And even though I laid this out, I still may make some changes in the drawing. Now that way that I had his arm beforehand, I don't like it now. It doesn't work with this pose. So because I drew this so light, I can go right over top of it. Now, I can make this lower level. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to go to this one, lighten that one up, add a layer. But now, I'm going to change my pencil to a actual black lead. I'm going to zoom in here. Oh, forgot to add my layer. I'm going to go back. Bam, there we go. And now I can begin adding in my details. Oh, there was another Cyclops moment. I forgot what he was upset about, but he went into the danger room and it was like on level 99. And Jean Grey came in there. And to even be able to talk to Cyclops without anything hurting her, she had to have her full telekinetic force field up. And Scott was like in there just like zarking everything with like all the focus in the world, but he made it look so easy. So like Cyclops is like this really dope character that's completely underappreciated. Like you have to have Scott in there. Like so X-Men 3 came out and they all jumped out of the Blackbird using their powers and then had a big fight scene with a bunch of mutants. And I'm like, that should be Scott Summers leading this. He should be jumping out that plane, firing his optic blast, landing to the ground using it, and then giving out orders to the team of X-Men. So you finally do this in a movie and you kill Cyclops? Are you kidding me right now? I didn't really understand that back then. I was believing the hype that Bryan Singer was selling me. That was before we got good comic book movies. If anyone has any questions they want to ask while I'm drawing this, I can multitask. I can answer any questions if you have it. I started drawing back when Voltron was a cartoon. And I would sit up there and I would draw the lines as I watched the cartoon. I got into comic books in the 6th grade. I thought comic books were stupid. And then my friend Tom ransomed our friendship and said, if you don't find a comic book to like, we can't be friends anymore. And brought me in like a big stack of comic books. And I was like, are you serious right now? Like, we hang out and sit and eat and talk and chill every day. Like, you're gonna put our friendship on a stupid comic book? He did. He was completely serious. He brought me in a stack of books the very next day and said, you have till tomorrow or we're done. The book that I ended up liking was X-Men number 16. The X-Men Cyclops, Psylocke, Colossus, Illyana, Jubilee, Iceman versus Omega Red in Russia in the winter. That was my junk. I fell in love with comic books that day. and not because of a friendship. Like we kept our friendship; it was important to me, but that didn't do it. Wolverine getting his butt kicked and getting back up when all the X-Men were getting down. I related to that as a kid. Like he was short. He honestly has the lamest powers out of everyone on the team, but he just wouldn't stop and he kept getting back up. And I used to get picked on when I was little, and I wanted to adopt that mentality. I wanted to be this little dude that would not give up, whether I was getting my butt kicked or not. I would still get up and face down whoever was in front of me. Like that, like reveled with me. So that's the moment I fell in love with comic books, and I wanted to do them ever since then. So now that I have this pencil out, and honestly, it does not matter what color you use. I'm adding a little bit more detail to this. Just so I can see what's going on. No, I can draw older versions of them. I can draw whatever costume I want. They'll specifically say which ones they don't want me to draw. My last set was my favorite set because they put the names of the characters on there they wanted me to draw. I didn't have to think of anything. That's the hardest part, thinking about what character to draw and then what version of the costume to draw. But they gave me the name and it was super easy. I hope those are the only decks they send me. I know it won't be, but I really want it to be. All right, so for me on a sketch card, this would be fleshed out for me enough. My next step would be to delete that one, delete that one, and then I'd begin the process of laying down colors on this. And I color when I do my sketch cards. I do them in marker. I would start coloring this after I got all my colors down on here. Then I would go back and I'd ink it, and that's when I would really add all the detail. Again, this is my map. I normally do about 3 layers of sketching and then pencil work before I'm done with it. And then I would throw colors on this and then come back in with ink pens and add all my detail to it. And that's pretty much how I do sketch cards. Please, you don't feel obligated to clap, but don't stop either. Yeah, yeah. Oh, shoot. You all have been very cool. I have a present for you. There they go. I have to run off and go do another panel, but my brother is at home and he will tell you all about what we do. Please go check out what we have. Don't feel obligated to buy anything. I'm just trying to keep up that. That's what we care about, not you. If you see something you like, great. Go ahead and buy something. If not, it's okay. We will still give you a free item just for going over and check out what we got. All right?
You do all the iPads, all iPad apps, or a special app for that?
Okay, so Procreate, Clip Studio, and Metabang. Metabang is free. Clip Studio is free for 6 months, and then it's like $9 a month, but it's worth it. The amount of content that you can download for free is crazy ridiculous. Everything that you would anything that you would possibly think of that you would need to draw, you can download on Procreate for free. Clip Studio is $12 at the initial purchase, and that's it. And it has perspective and ruler tools to help you draw in perspective. And that's what I was actually using right now to draw as Procreate. So I would recommend those 3 apps.